Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and our adventures in cardboard. This isn't Adrian, who is the current first player, if you haven't guessed. It's James, or Davey as some people call me here, who has stolen the mic along with Kerley.
Hello.
And JP.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about our experiences at the UK Games Expo.
Oh yes.
In this special expansion pack episode. So just as a little bit thing about our expansion packs, we're going to do a couple of more in the future, and we've got some good guests coming in. We've got some of the developers from Eurydice Games, Paul and Jack, and they're going to talk about their game FlickFleet. It's real fun. I'll talk about it later as well. And JP has a special announcement also.
So we've got Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules, and really excited to get Paul on the show. Known Paul for a fair while now, so it's just good to have a chat with him and see what he thinks and get his insight on the hobby. And looking forward to that episode, so stay tuned for when that one drops.
Nice. So we've got that to look forward to with our expansion packs, and this is one of them. We're talking about the UK Games Expo. So we're going to talk about the kind of games we checked out, all the good things, some of the bad things, which there isn't many, let's face it, and kind of our highlights. So guys, how did we find it?
Brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've come back from a stag do. Don't know about you. I'm tired. Literally, we came back yesterday, right? I know, Davey, you got in later than a few of the others. We got back about 3, 4.
Yeah, about 4 o'clock. Yeah.
You got back about what, 8?
8. Yeah. We literally stayed until the expo closed on the Sunday.
Until they kicked you out, right?
Until they kicked us out, pretty much. Yeah. A couple of announcements going. The expo is closing in 10 minutes. You're thinking, right, get all the bits, get some deals, kind of get out. But
no, it would have been lovely to stay. I think I was just done by 1 o'clock. I was like, I'm done. I'm mashed, and I get like that every time. So it wasn't anything specific about this year. But no, I loved it. I love Expo. I love the fact that you kind of away with your mates. And for me, I'm a dad of 2, and and I love my kids, right? And if you're listening, kids, I love you. But it's just nice to run away. It's just nice to be away, do my thing.
Whereas me not having kids, I'm just spoiled, basically.
Yeah.
My life is a constant expo.
It's the Kerley Expo 2022. So brilliant. It's just amazing fun, and we'll get into it, right? We'll get into some of the things we saw, but
just the general atmosphere and everything. That's one of my biggest things I like about the expo is kind of the vibe you get from everyone. Everyone's there for board games. Everyone's there to have a good time. It's a real nice atmosphere, even if it's crowded with thousands and thousands of people, which I think they said their top peak was like 28,000 this year or 29,000 around there. It never felt, you never feel a kind of a bad vibe for anyone. So it's really nice.
That's important. Though. I think the other thing I noticed this year more than I have previously is the diversity. And like previously, you got the typical 18xx dudes in the corner all going, Rrr. And no offense to 18xx players because they're great, but no,
rabble.
It's just saw a lot of diversity, like guys, women, like kids, everybody and everyone was there. Brilliant.
Yeah,
and I think even the open gaming in Hall 3. I love the fact that even though it's probably the busiest they've ever had it, you could still get a table. Mm-hmm. You could still find a space.
Yeah.
And then just sitting there looking around and watching the seas of people just play games. And actually, I think Becky was saying, right? She's finds it interesting when she went, I'm going to nip to the loo and just have a look at what people are playing.
Yeah.
And see all the things.
And, people wouldn't mind you just going over and having a chat and being like, oh, what's that game? How does that play? What do you do there?
What do you think of that? Cool, I'll go and buy it right now.
Exactly. So that's kind of the general feel and buzz, but what games did you check out? What?
God. Where should we start, mate?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's quite a lot to go through.
Yeah.
Top of your head. Go on.
The one that stood out for me was Galactic Era, which wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I found it really enjoyable.
Yeah.
That was the one that I sat down and probably played for the longest. There was a couple of them, but that was the one that I liked the most.
So
really
what
good
type
kind
of game is
4X game.
Yeah.
So I always say that, and then I forget what the 4X's stand for.
I'm going to challenge you. Go.
Oh God! Exploit, explore, exterminate, and I always forget the last one. Help me out, guys.
I only know 3Xs, so don't go into that.
Damn it! So every time
It's a 3X game.
it's a 3X game.
We should know this, shouldn't we?
We should know
We
this,
should.
yeah.
It is a bit disgraceful,
Yeah.
to be honest.
It's just X-rated, that's it.
It's
Yeah,
not
that'll do.
it's not extinct, is it? Extinct?
Yeah, but it's good for player.
Sexy men and ladies on the front cover.
Expand.
Expand.
There you go.
There we go.
So yeah, it's a 4X game, and we were chatting with the designer actually, Channing Jones. Really, really nice actually, about the reasons why he released it, the reasons why he designed it, and it was just interesting to talk to someone because I don't think I've ever talked to a designer sort of face to face.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to hear his reasons, how he felt like other games didn't scratch his itch that he wanted. I think it was deterministic and a couple of little ideas he come up with.
No randomness. There's someone else that has a similar opinion.
Yeah, and I just thought that the tactics, the things he tried to achieve worked really well. There were some really nice ideas in there, played really well. What did you guys think of it?
Yeah, I love the system. Like I found it really enjoyable. I could have happily played like all 8 rounds.
Yeah.
I think in that afternoon. If
it wasn't a long game either.
No.
For a 4X, it definitely it was kind of condensed.
It's like a 3-hour game. I think.
The turns did go quite quickly, but in a satisfactory way, not I feel rushed to finish my turn.
Had some interesting things, and just the way the phasing, the turn order was kind of laid out, and obviously you're moving around and checking planets out and doing the whole explore thing, which again works really well. And then you have these growth tiles that you pick 2 of them, 2 of the oval ones, right, and then 1 of the square ones. And even that, just thinking, because you all do that secretly, and then everyone reveals, and you're like, oh my god, he's growing his military, or oh my god, they're growing population, or whatever, and it just adds a little unique twist. And I think the fact that you've got the factions, and the thing I liked about it is that you can kind of switch between your light side and dark side. Yeah, I'm sure it has a different names and it's not Star Wars related, but you can kind of flip, right, you know what, I'm going to go kind of evil now and start declaring wars. And actually, if you're on the light side, you can't declare wars on other factions.
But it did have incentives to go to the light or to the dark, so
Absolutely.
it wasn't like one player was going to sit in one.
No,
because there was no tactical reason to just kind of turtle up. So
it was an interesting take on it, and quite happily would have sat there and played the whole thing. I think along with you, Kerley. So
I like specifically the way that there was a randomly generated kind of bonus for being either light or dark.
Yeah,
that you changed every time that you played it. I really like that because it made you kind of like, it forced you to flip from light to dark and backwards and forwards according to what you wanted to achieve in the different turns.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that part of it. For an example, my guys were like, they were trade orientated, and I didn't play around too much with it, but for an example, for every trade I did, both you and the person you traded with got a VP, essentially, but the dark side made it interesting because it forced you to trade. So, for example, I could have said to you, James, you have to trade with me. You got no choice.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting, like the way.
And my guys were telepathic and could trade anywhere, so it kind of played off each other quite well.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it worked really well.
thought you did a good job.
Yeah, definitely did a good job. Self-published as well, which is always very impressive.
Yeah.
There were some parts of the game that we thought could have been a little bit smoother and things like that, but it was overall a fantastic game.
I think we are just spoiled, if I'm being honest. If we play in Eclipse and even TI, Twilight Imperium, we're just used to, I suppose, production qualities of these large publishers.
Well, that's the thing. You can't push a price point too much if you're self-publishing it, because the big publishers are going to have all the resources at hand, and they're going to be able to push that price point down so it's competitive. So you just have to take that into account, really. And for an indie game, I
wish him all the best of luck with it. I think the system itself, and I think a lot of strategy diehard fans would get a lot out of it because it's deterministic.
Yeah.
And the fact you can actually have this grand strategy and not, it all falls apart and crumbles on a dice roll kind of thing. You can absolutely plan it out and crush your opponents.
I really am on the fence. I might actually buy it.
I have been thinking about it as well. It's been churning away.
Honestly, I genuinely think if it was actually available right now, it would already be mine.
Yeah.
I'd have ordered it. But the fact that it's a pre-order, it's like, I can't get my instant dopamine fix.
Yeah, he was unfortunate, really, wasn't he? Because he said his delivery didn't arrive for the expo. So otherwise, we'd have a copy here and we'd send you a photo.
Would, yeah, probably would.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that. Galactic Era.
So to keep on the theme of independent developers, the guys I mentioned earlier, UK Games, Paul and Jack, they had the game FlickFleet.
Yeah,
and we went there and we played that, and it's so simple to teach. You have a ship, you put dice on it. There's a card which has your ship's abilities to the side, and you just put tokens on for shields, everything else, and then you just activate in turn order, flick your ship for movement, and then either do an ability or flick a dice for shooting, and it tells you how many shots you got on your little sheet. And you just shoot each other until someone shot someone off the board. But there's some real cool little mechanics they've included, which are really well thought out and really well designed, in my opinion. But
one question, Davey, is it like X-Wing?
No, it's not.
Good. I like it. Yeah.
JP's got a reputation.
If you flick as well as you did for Crokinole, and they called it Crokinole again, for Crokinole, you'll do fine. They've got little mechanics in there where they've made some really cool nebula fields, and the little space at the bottom you can fit your ship under. But when you flick a dice, it's got a little shield, so the dice will bounce off it.
Oh,
so while you're in the nebula field, you can't get shot or shoot out.
So you can go under it.
That's
quite interesting.
You can either just buy the core and play it when your friends come over, and that's it, or you can get into it and have a little tournament in your basement and have all your mates round and go all out.
Do you have a basement? Not in the UK. It's called a cellar.
Metaphorical basement, i.e. games room. So I was just really impressed with it, and their passion. Their passion for the project was really inspiring as well. They seemed
so they're self-published. They
self-published
crack
again.
All
Yeah,
this
that's
stuff out
it.
themselves.
Yeah, and it's just lots of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it because your brother picked it up, didn't he?
Yeah, my brother did buy it, so we will be playing it at some point.
If it's good, then I'll consider getting a copy myself because it sounds like my sort
Well,
of
they've
thing.
actually got a Kickstarter coming out as well, which has a new alien race and all new abilities again. So
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Nice.
And then probably moving on from, there's no other independent developers we can really talk about.
Not that I can remember.
We personally tried. There were so many games there that to try and get them all in 3 days, I probably could have spent 2 weeks there and not played them all.
That's true.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
So
there was one shop. Do we want to talk about shop?
Yeah.
Why
not?
Yeah, so I was really impressed by a Etsy shop called Trade and Tested. That I was just really impressed by the quality of the materials they were using, the overall look of it and the aesthetic and the quality. And what they do is they do dice, but the main bits I were interested in with the dice trays were fantastic quality, and they also do leather cases for them as well, and they just look so good. But the quality of it was just fantastic. What they do is they've got wooden edging, and then they use fabric on in the middle bit. And the one I bought was a picture of I don't know if it was the original, but it was certainly a picture by J.R. Tolkien for the Hobbit. That we used to be the blue, the green, and the white kind of front cover that was kind of all swells and iconography and stuff.
It looked very good.
But
really
it was
pretty.
it looked brilliant, and it was
really
£25, which is a lot of money, but I didn't think bad for the quality that I got. And the little leather pouch and everything else just made me think of quality. Really,
You love a leather pouch.
I do. Who doesn't?
Well, if these things are handmade, it's the manpower you're putting your money into as well.
Yeah, that's it.
It supports supports people.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is better than some
corporation.
Yeah, exactly. Soulless corporation.
Yes.
Yeah. What other games did we kind of play? A couple of Fantasy Flight, wasn't there? It was Marvelous.
Yeah, we did.
Marvel.
We did Marvel Crisis Protocol, which was in the Asmodee area, and I always wanted to try it. Right, I love Marvel. Most people know that.
Really?
Mate. Yeah.
Really?
I own every Marvel Champions bloody deck there is to own.
I mean, we all kind of love Marvel, don't we?
It's just a great theme and thing to get into. It's so accessible, and as it's a miniatures game, I kind of was thinking, is it like X-Wing? I'm going to talk about X-Wing on the next episode. So you'll hear about my X-Wing shenanigans on
You've
episode
got
6.
PTSD with X-Wing, don't you? Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely do.
Start calling it X-Wah.
Yeah, like,
JP's gripe, yeah.
I call it X-Wah something, but I'm not going to repeat it. But Marvel Crisis Protocol, miniatures game. You've got like Cap, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and you go against various different villains.
Crossbones, who I kept thinking was Bane. I kept thinking, it's Bane there.
Definitely
It's Crossbones.
Red Skull and Baron Zemo, I think we had in the demo.
Yeah, that's it.
And obviously because it's a demo, they've wheeled out, there's the Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange, and there's loads of cars and scenery, and you think, oh my god, this looks really good. There's a play mat of a kind of desolated town centre or city centre or whatever. But no, if you think about any kind of standard miniatures game, you've got like templates for movement, which actually I thought were quite cool because they're kinked in the middle, didn't they?
Yeah.
They kind of kinked on a hinge where you can kind of go
made
around
it a lot
corners.
easier. Yeah, I liked the little in-groove they had for your base as well. So your base would go right up to your measurement, so you knew where to measure to and from. Absolutely. It was very simplistic, and you didn't have to think, oh wait, am I going behind the ruler? Am I going in front of it? It was just.
It wasn't like X-Wing, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So you could kind of move around, and you then obviously do your actions. And again, I thought the combat system was quite fun, and you kind of build income of power. You can spend that power on abilities, and again, a very fun skirmish miniature game.
It was a really fun skirmish miniature game. But what's our main problem with skirmish miniature games?
It's price, isn't it?
It's price.
Like when you look at the core set, how much is the core set? And I think it's RRP is probably £80 and probably get it for 75, whatever. And then you look at what you get in there, and you get some of the characters, and you get some of the scenery, and you know that when you buy that core set, you'll have fun with it for probably an evening, and then you'll want more. Yeah. You're going to want more. You've got more characters. We've got Thanos. Let's get Thanos.
I feel like these type of games, you have to be invested not only with your pocket, but you have to be invested in your body as well. You've got to go all in. That's all I'm pretty much going to play for the next couple of years. Is going to be Marvel Crisis Protocol. I want to go to the events. I'm going to
tournament play.
Exactly. Because that's I feel like the only way you're going to get your money's worth.
I can totally understand why people love it.
Yeah,
definitely. I got the little buzz from just playing it. This is brilliant. Oh my god, I can throw cars around at people. This is amazing. But I think for me personally, like I've mentioned Marvel Champions, like I'm in deep. I'm in very deep. I don't need another thing to get into.
Well, we did the same. We did the same with X-Wing, i.e. X-Wing. When we first played at the Expo, we did the exact same. We went, "This is really fun. This is amazing," and you ended up dropping a lot of money in it. And then when we started playing it, we realised we didn't have time to play that and everything else we wanted to do really. So we ended up dropping it. And it wasn't really worth what we spent on it. Whereas if we spent 70-80 quid on the board game, we'd be playing it a lot more, and we probably would have got our money's worth.
Was for me, Matt. I sold it, but anyway.
Well, pretty quick.
Oh, and you hear about that.
In the next
you hear about why,
But with I think I've got a bigger problem with specifically Crisis Protocol.
Okay, go on.
Variation. So I really do think, like X-Wing, for example, I can see why it's had its longevity. All right, but it's a similar kind of thing to the skirmish games, like the Warhammer version. What is it called these days? Age of Sigmar.
No, Age of Sigmar is just full blown out game now.
Okay.
The skirmish one's Warcry or Kill Team is there.
So anyway, the point of the matter is, I can see that because you can write an army list. Essentially, you can give different abilities to different people. You can kind of make it how you want, and that makes more every agency, game. Don't you? Yeah, every game is going to be different in some way or another. For me, with Crisis Protocol, it's a character. You keep it the same, and it's never going to really be different. So I think the potential chance for you to kind of just have the same game repeatedly is quite high.
Do we know enough about the game?
No, potentially not, and that's the problem. But I
also see that maybe that's a selling point for people, though.
Now, the only reason I can see that, because I was going to say, is potentially it's aimed at younger people who don't want to do that side of it,
or even people that don't have the time to. They would still, as I said, you've got to fully invest into it, but don't have the time to make their own list and research what's the meta at the moment and just turn up and play it.
It appeals to me. That the fact that it is simplistic, I can just pick a character or a team of characters, and you add the numbers up and you pick the cards, and that's the kind of scenario you're playing or whatever it was. It appeals to me that I don't have to faff around. Yeah. Like, I think the whole regardless of X-Wing and the way it works, well, I won't get into it because it'll make me angry. But I think the fact
you can't see how red he is in this room at the moment.
And I get why people like it, but the endless customization that you can kind of build all these things up, I can't be arsed.
Yeah.
I mean, it does get the more casual gamer, but I do think that longevity is a natural downside to that.
Yeah, fair play.
But if it was put in front of us, we would play it and we would enjoy it.
Yeah,
if money's not an issue, then get Marvel Crisis Protocol.
I guess that's the point: is money versus how long it would actually last for me. But as JP said, I don't know enough about it. I'm assuming, which is a dangerous word to use, because of the character templates that we had, that they were relatively permanent. But maybe there's 100.
There may be loads of other character templates for the same character and stuff like that.
So there is a potential chance. But if that is literally like Iron Man is Iron Man is Iron Man, then for me,
so disclaimer: all our opinions at the moment is on the demoed game.
All of our opinions are ignorant.
So don't even listen to us talking about our opinions. They're rubbish. But no, it's good for us to talk about our experiences, and that's the point, isn't it?
Oh yes, that's it, isn't it? And everyone would have had a different one with the same game, but
I think also while we're there, while we're actually at that Asmodee area, we tried out Lord of the Rings.
So I was going to discuss that because I really enjoyed it. I've played it before online, but I've never played with my friends, and it made a big difference. I would say our experience at that table, because everyone was learning it, was very different. But for me, it was like, I'm going to enjoy this again. Me and Rob.
I thought you were going to enjoy it because I played it with kind of my other group just before you guys, and I remember saying to Kerley,
"Who are these?
No one.
Traitor.
No, these from another group who are usually my computer game friends. But I've kind of started slowly converting them into some cardboard. And,
well done.
Yeah,
Good work.
One of us, but I thought Kerley, I thought you were going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh, good.
No, honestly, I could easily see me playing that a lot. Again, I've got Marvel Champions. I'm probably not going to buy it. Will I play it? Absolutely. I like the system in it.
It's probably the nearest comparison, to be honest, is Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, Lord of the Rings Living Card Game came first, but it is a relatively...
You can tell how it's evolved into different card games that Fantasy Flight have done. You can tell that they've looked previously.
Champions, to me, is... not more simplistic, but it's more of a streamlined kind of condensed version, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Lord of the Rings, I quite like the epicness and the campaign feel to it, and
you have more of a team. I think
I like comboing off of each other as well. That's really nice.
You've got your heroes, and obviously if you're playing, 4 players, we did in the demo. You've got 12 heroes on the board. And then you got all the allies, and suddenly you got all these different characters that can kind of play off each other to do things. And it's actually I'm going to help you out with that spider, and I'll kill that, and actually then I'll do that. So again, it just encourages more interplay. And I
feel like a fellowship, don't you?
Yeah, well, I feel like I think in Lord of the Rings, it's the fact you can combo off other people, whereas Marvel Champions is a bit more restrictive.
They've definitely made it more singular. This is your deck, you're playing it. And the only thing you can kind of do is just like give a resource or sometimes give an action to
certain
someone.
Specific cards.
Can you defend for people? I seem to remember you saying you can defend someone else if they're being attacked in Champions. Yeah. So that's probably there.
Yeah, that is very similar to Lord of the Rings as well, isn't it?
So it's a great system, and I'm glad they've kind of gone back and done a revised core for it. And brought it back to life. Because I'll be honest, I wouldn't have probably played it if they hadn't done that.
No, keeping it to 2 players, I think just would have kind of restricted it a lot more. With having that 4-player,
that's what they've learned with Champions, because that's the first core box they've done right.
Yeah,
that's the first core box which you can
and
play.
And they've done the same with Arkham Horror as well.
Eventually they're going to revise it.
Yeah, have they?
Yeah, because the original core was only 2.
Yes,
so you have to buy 2 cores.
Yeah,
which is a bit naughty. So it's kind of like, no, make sure you can play 4 players out of the box, please.
Yeah,
that's only fair. Let's not buy double.
And it also gives the 2-player one more variation because they can change their decks up a lot more because they've got more cards to pick from.
Also getting more people into it, and once more people are into it, they'll buy their own games and their own expansions.
So hopefully Rob's getting it.
Yes.
Or you're getting it.
Yeah, me and Rob have already discussed the plan. So,
yeah. My friend did buy it.
Yeah.
And he's got an expansion on the way also.
But I'm down, so I'm up for
Good to know.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's a good game.
What else we got?
We also have... So I think that's pretty much all we played around the Fantasy Flight section. We did see Nemesis there, we spoke about that long enough. And we played it. So.
We got an episode about it, apparently.
I mean, Unfathomable was there, and as much as I actually wanted to play it, I've got it already. It's I love the game.
Exactly.
So just,
Exactly. It won an award, I think, as well, didn't it? So you've got Carooka, which I didn't play, but it's more flicking.
It's more flicking. It's very much like Crokinole. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Carooka is Crokinole versus snooker. So think about circular wooden board. You've got pockets in, the edges all around that board, and then you've got discs which are representing the balls of, all the different colours and the red discs, etc.
Oh, but won't you have to stand up and move around the board a lot?
No, of course you don't, because it comes with a lazy Susan. So yeah, I thought the guys that were there, I think it was a husband-wife team producing these Carooka boards, fantastic quality, and for the price point they were offering, I thought it was a great deal.
I was going to say the price point actually surprised me. To be sub £200 for what looked like really good quality.
I expected probably around 300 because that's pretty much where the Crokinole board sit, isn't it? So.
And I think they sold 2 tables to Ian. This one. Rob, I think, is going to pick one up.
I'd be shocked if Becky didn't get one.
Yeah, not in total, but to our group, they sold 2.
Yeah. Otherwise, that would have been a catastrophe. But no, I think just a really fun game. I mean, what's there to say? It's snooker. You're sitting there, you're flicking your cue ball, but it's a disc.
To me, it's just another great pub game, isn't it? It's that kind of pub feel to it.
It's fun.
Yeah,
not much
nice
more
fun dexterity
Very
game.
Fun game.
Check it out. So, talking about flicking things, we'll talk about the Crokinole tournament. I think all of us pretty much joined up who went. Chris came down especially.
Rob did.
Rob didn't. That's it. You're
Basically,
right.
6 of us entered, I think.
Yeah.
The tournament.
Sounds about right. 5 or 6, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Varying skill from all of us. Some of us played it a lot, and some of us have played it like twice, 3 times.
Mate.
I've played a few times, but I haven't played Crokinole in over 2 years before the tournament.
Yeah. And if anyone doesn't know what Crokinole is, I mean, Ian will probably just get mad because he'll go, "Why not? Everyone should know what Crokinole is." But it's a Canadian kind of based flicking dexterity game. It's like shuffleboard, isn't it?
A nice large
shuffleboard, bowls,
yeah,
kind of thing, and it's quite addictive. It's a pub game, kind of. I might have offended all the Crokinole players there, but it's that light.
Well, you can be pro at a pub game, can't you? With darts,
you can. Just drink a lot of beers, it's fine. But no, we had 41 entrants in the competition.
Yes, there was a good turnout, wasn't there?
Meant to be more. And
44, I think.
44, yeah.
3 pulled out, and we played a series of round robin. Basically rounds. We had 4 groups, didn't we? Doing round robin.
Yeah.
And then the top 3 of each group kind of then got into the second round, and then eventually into the top 4, and then semis and finals, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was good fun. It was good.
Yeah.
Ian did a great job. I just want to put that on record.
Yeah.
Ian did a fantastic job organising that, and I know he was quite nervous about it. And
there's quite a lot of pressure, isn't it?
A lot of pressure on him, which his whole focus of that weekend was him basically getting ready for the tournament, running the tournament, going, "Oh, the tournament's over, I can relax." So yeah, I mean, you've got the positions of you, Davey, in terms of how we all did.
No, I think I've lost those. We won't talk about those.
No, we've got them. Where did you come, Davey?
Somewhere. I think somewhere. No, I didn't do too well. I think I did the worst in the group. I'm going to blame it on the fact that 2 of the people on my table were the ones in the semi-finals. So
not your skill level. Then. Not your skill.
Yeah, not my skill. No, I seem to have like a big block at the start and a big block at the end where I did really poorly. So I could also blame the tables, but I won't do that. So I was 31st. But I mean, that's in the UK, so not too bad.
31st player, best player.
Out of 44 though. 41. Becky came 27th. Kerley 26th. Chris 18th. JP. What does that say? No, I can't read yours. Sorry, JP.
No, I think you can, mate.
41st for JP.
Yeah, I think 41st. Yeah. We'll say that. Or 12. Or 12. He did very well. He got through to the
second round.
The second round, yeah, just before the semis.
And then I got absolutely pummeled. Literally got absolutely.
I think the points difference between the first group and then when you got into the second group,
I got 46, I think, points in the first round, and then 20 in the second, something like that. And so, the skill level it was just a different level. And like I'd been playing for most of the morning. I was getting tired, making mistakes, and you can't make a mistake. Like these guys and girls who are playing, they're just like machines.
Yeah.
Like flick 20, flick 20, flick 20. Like, oh god, jeez. And then you make one mistake and it's over. You just can't pull it back. So yeah, I mean, kudos to the people.
I do have a complaint though. Ian put my score down wrong. I told him my score. He checked my score.
What was it?
It was 33, and he got me down as 30 on this list. I'm not happy.
Maybe you'd had it up wrong.
I did finish 26th. I finished 24th. I'll have him know.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's on record.
Those two places are important.
It's fine. We'll edit this out. So Ian came 9th, and yeah, that was our group on the tournament. Well done for everyone that played. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just want to say, kudos. And also, we should mention the person that won it, Brian Cook. Yeah, congratulations. Well played. He's the world champion, isn't he, as well?
I played him, and I can't walk straight. So.
It was my first game, I thought it a little bit strange where two people walked past his empty chair to go beyond him. I was like, right, okay, I'll sit down and say hello. Oh, right, world champion. That's the reason why they weren't playing him for. So my first game in the whole tournament was against the world champion.
He was lovely.
Baptism in fire.
He was absolutely lovely.
Was
really good guy.
Very humble bloke to be so good at it, and just
cool.
Well done. So moving on. There's a couple of other games which were played. Galaxy Trucker.
Yeah.
So I've played Galaxy Trucker before, but you've played. I've only played the first edition. You got to play the second, yeah?
Yeah, I don't think it's wildly different. So me and Rob went to Czech Games Edition, and we sat down. It was the first thing we booked in. I thought, well, I'm going to book in a demo. Rob's never been. I thought, you know what it's like when you turn up. You're kind of looking around. You're trying to find somewhere.
It's sensory overload, isn't it?
Yeah. And I thought, no, let's just get straight to somewhere. We'll sit down, start getting playing, And I thought, Galaxy Trucker. I've not played before. I know what it is. It's kind of a light. I'd call it a silly game. It's not a silly game. It's actually, there is some strategy to it, but it's
mayhem. It is utter mayhem.
It's chaotic mayhem, but the fact that you kind of have a junkyard. So if you imagine a junkyard of tiles, with different spaceship parts, and you have a certain amount of time to build your spaceship in real time with other people, and you're only allowed to pull a tile off, and you can only look at the tile off. You put it over your map, and then you have to kind of put it down. And then you have all these different connectors and types and different parts of the ship that you're connecting together, and it has to be legal. And if it's not legal, then at the end
it falls off.
It falls off. So you kind of you're building that ship, and once it's all ready, and then the ship's got like cannons, it's got engines, all these things, and then you're like, I'm pretty proud of my ship. I've built this really lovely thing. And then someone points out and goes, hang on a minute, that left bit that you've got on the end isn't connected right, and you go, oh shit, and then you have to pull it off. So then you get your ship, and then you essentially go on your adventure. It's just kind of two halves.
It's like running the gauntlet, isn't it?
Absolutely. So there's you have these event cards, and you can actually look at some of these event cards whilst you're building, but obviously if you do that, other people are getting
the time's so strict. When you said you and Rob were doing it, I did laugh, because I remember how stressful he got with Captain Sonar.
I'll come to that. I'll come to this moment.
So real-time games does not suit Rob.
So we went round, as usual, you got these cards, right, pull the first card, right, asteroid, right, and what happens is that whoever's in front of the pack rolls the 2 dice, and then the number determines where the asteroid's coming down on your grid, basically, if you think of your ship as a grid. And if it's a light asteroid, if you've got shields on the right bit, you're fine. If you've got an exposed connector, then that bit falls off.
Right.
And if it's smooth, it's fine. If it's a heavy asteroid, it's just going to destroy the first thing it hits in your grid. And obviously, if you've unfortunately built your ship with one connector off on the right side of the ship, and it hits that specific connector, the whole right side of your ship just falls apart and goes away. Right. Which is what happened to Rob, which he wasn't happy about, because we all laughed at him. And as we progressed with the game, the same thing started to happen to us, so we laughed back, and then he went, I actually like this game now. But yeah, it's just a fun game, and I think second edition just has a bit more.
You can't take it too seriously, can you? It's literally just go and have a bit of fun. You will get screwed over by random. It's one of those. But
you can mitigate it to a certain point if you know what's coming up, or you can see the odds of things coming up. But
what's the playtime?
Playtime, well, this is what they've changed in second edition. So in first edition, you had to play through 3 stages.
And then you got to buy different ships as well.
There are different layouts as the stages grow, so you end up getting bigger and bigger and bigger ships. Whereas in this edition, it allows you just to play one of the stages, or you can do all of them. I think there's more flexibility in, so you can do shorter play times. So if you're playing with kids, you might just do stage 1 plays in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do, a bigger thing, you can play it for an hour and a half.
Okay.
So I think Rob's going to pick it up. I think he really enjoyed it.
It is good fun.
It's just a good fun game.
We used to always...
Sounds quite appealing. Well, I'm always after games to add to my small game collection for games nights,
Yeah, good.
When I first started board gaming, it was a game we played all the time. It was always the one we got to the table first. We'd play a game of Galaxy Trucker, probably do it in about half an hour, 40 minutes. Have the mad scramble at the start where you're just grabbing tiles, going, and you're not allowed
Where's
to...
the left bend connector? I can't find it.
And you're not allowed to, you can hold only a certain amount of tiles that you may want to keep.
You can reserve 2.
That's it, yeah. So then you chuck them back in and somebody goes, ooh, I won that one. You think, oh no, I did actually want that.
Yeah, so when you chuck them back in, they're face up.
Yeah.
Right, so everyone goes, that's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And they get really happy. It's like,
played that in about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then we'd play our heavy games after.
Sounds interesting.
It's good fun.
It was good fun.
Recommend it.
Okay, so other games that you guys played. This is the first day when I was out gallivanting. Was Heroes 3?
Gallivanting.
Yeah.
That's a good way of doing it. Yeah, you can talk about Heroes 3, Kerley, because you know more about this than I do. Obviously, I played it, but you're big on Heroes 3, the computer game, which I didn't even know existed. So,
Might and Magic.
Yeah, so it's Heroes of Might and Magic 3, basically.
Oh, I didn't. As Heroes 3, I did not have a clue as Might and Magic one. I didn't even see that.
No, it's basically by a fan who's basically...
so that's why it doesn't have the Might and Magic logo kind of there.
Well, no, it's all on there. So it's all
really?
on there. So yeah, it's
IP,
got all of the different...
He's got the IP.
He's got permission from the whole IP, and I was just chatting to him. It was a designer who was teaching us, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, really nice guy. It's still in a prototype stage. It's not even a Kickstarter yet. It kickstarts in November. But essentially, it's a fantasy strategy game with exploration and RPG and leveling up mechanics in it.
Just like the computer game, then.
Exactly like the computer game. He's made a distinct effort to make it as close to the computer game as possible. Which works.
Yeah, it works.
Which works.
It's quite a difficult process to do because obviously, behind the scenes in a computer game, it's doing all that work for you. Whereas if you're having to work out too much with a board game, it's going to slow the pace down. So, how did it work?
So essentially, you start out in your main town. It's the old hex style grids. It's got a center hex with your town, and then a surrounding load of hexes. And essentially, most, I don't want to say all, but most of the tiles have rewards on them, and the better rewards are defended by creatures. One of the biggest differences from the game, the computer game has it where when you attack a group of creatures, you don't know exactly how many creatures there are, but you know what creatures they are.
Yes.
All right. So, for example, you'd attack some goblins, and you knew they were goblins. And what this? Yeah, exactly.
You knew what their abilities were.
Yeah, exactly. For an example, I know at the start of the computer game that you wouldn't attack any range troops because it would take a too heavy toll on your armies and stuff. But in this game, it's random.
Okay.
So you know the relative strength because you know it's between 1 and 5 the strength of the monsters.
Right.
So you know roughly what you're going to be fighting as far as their strength goes, but what they actually do and what creatures they are, you don't know. It's picked up from a tile, and he did that intentionally just to give that random variance and an element to it, which I thought was quite good because you can't have a randomly generated map like you can in the computer game, and this is a nod to the fact that the variance is important. So yeah, you go out, you explore, you have different missions, different scenarios that have different win conditions, loads of variation. When you get to the edge of the hex, then you can spend 1 movement, which is the same as the 2010 version of Civilization, to view the next area, and then you can choose where to go from there.
Yeah.
So you can go into the new hex, you can go into go the other way and decide that one's not worth exploring. And generally speaking, you collect resources, production, one-off resources, same as in the actual computer game, and you level up your town to give you better creatures and better production on those creatures and things like that. Plays very similar to the game. Really enjoyed it, even though it was still in a prototype stage, so the artwork wasn't complete and things like that, but definitely see huge potential. and I'm signed up to the
mailing list.
Up to the mailing list.
Waiting
I'm
for the
definitely going to be
Kickstarter.
kickstarting it.
Yeah.
So
hands rubbing together.
yeah.
Rubbing the thighs as well.
I can't wait to play this in 3 years.
Yeah. How did the combat work? Just as
that was my favourite bit about it.
Oh, this is what I thought.
It's fairly simple but quite interesting. So it played a little bit like I suppose the most similar that I can think of is probably Too Many Bones.
Yeah, it's exactly how I got the TMB vibe from that combat.
Do you think
so it's fairly
taking his
simple.
inspiration from
You've
that
got
as well?
circles all over the place, and you move from one circle to the other. You've got ranged troops who can shoot anywhere on the board, and you've got melee troops who have to be close up to be able to hit them. Probably a bit further apart. I think they're a bit further apart they start than in Too Many Bones.
Well, I suppose that's
that's
kind of how old Might and Magic did it anyway, isn't it?
Fairly similar, but probably on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So,
But it was very tactical, like the way that you... Because if you're drawing the random enemies, then your opponent controls those enemies to fight against you, and vice versa. And I really enjoyed that bit, because I know we kind of teamed up, didn't we, for the demo, and we had Ben who was kind of doing the hand management stuff, and I was doing the battles. And I quite enjoyed that. Just like, it's like TMB. We just put the cards in there, and then this happens, and then actually it makes sense if I activate this guy first to take your guy out there because he's going to activate next. So I got that flavour. I thought they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, I did.
Can you end up fighting each other? Is it a multiplayer? Was it co-op? Or?
Well, interestingly, they made a scenario specific for the Games Expo that played quite quickly with reduced map size and things like that. And it played in about, I don't know, probably about an hour in real time. Like, you had to explain the rules and stuff like that, but played in about an hour. But the whole scenario ending was you have a fight with the other player. So it's very much PvP. I don't know if all the scenarios are going to be like that. I imagine, like in the computer game, some of the scenarios will like find this amazing artifact, or complete this other side quest, rescue this.
Oh, it's quite varied then.
So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But this specific one was PvP. When you've had that fight, the game's over.
Yeah.
Just to encourage us.
Well,
So
as a person that had not played the computer game and just came into it, I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it for whatever reason. I thought I know nothing about this. Oh, this looks heavy. Ugh. But then we started playing, and I don't know, just had a lot of fun with it. I thought that's actually a really good system. Made sense. Happy play.
Yeah, I can definitely see from playing the computer game. In fact, now you've said that with the grid system, and you said it's like Too Many Bones. I think actually probably Too Many Bones got its inspiration from those type of computer games.
More than likely,
because I was like, actually, that is how they used to work with the kind of turn-based grid system. Yeah. So
brilliant.
Sounds good. Something to look forward to in
2025.
Yeah,
definitely not that long.
Frustrating. So I got to play a game called Nicodemus by Bombix Games. Yeah, it was good fun. It's like you basically have cards of abilities. You lay them out on a conveyor belt. It's kind of like a dual mode of Imaginarium, and you get resources, and you kind of try and screw over your opponent and see what he's doing to try and take resources off them or to take cards. And it's a nice little dual game. It's got it looks simple. The symbols, once you get them, it's one of those learning things. Once you get the symbols, you understand how the game plays. Looks simple to play, but lots of depth and quite hard to master, I think.
What's the theme of it? What's it kind of about?
The theme is you're some crazy inventor making these weird machines that have got animals attached to them. So the artwork's quite out there, really.
Okay.
You've got it's like shark teeth with human goggle / face imprinted on it. It's very unique art on the cards you're playing. And the symbols did take a little bit for my brain to work out, but once it did, it was like, actually, it's not too bad. As with a lot of board games.
With all of them.
Its own symbology, but and once you fill out the rows, you kind of have lots of different actions you can do with the cards, and they mean lots of things. So it had the depth there as well. So it was good fun. The guy that taught us, I've actually forgotten his name, but he did a really good job of the teach as well. Yeah. It was point by point, bang, there's the game. We've picked it up. Off you go. Have a game. Probably play it in about half an hour. It's a dual game. So really good fun. Escape the Dark Sector. I think we all had a go at this. It's the sequel. Well, I say the sequel. It's just a follow-on to Escape the Dark Castle.
Yep.
So you know what you're getting with it if you know what Escape the Dark Castle is. If you don't, it's kind of like a card-based RPG that leads you down a set path. like one of those old school text-based RPGs that you used to get.
It feels like Steve Jackson fighting fantasy books. That's what it
it.
reminds me
Yeah,
of. Like,
yeah.
except like you have that deck of cards or story-driven cards, which are all randomised, and then that's your kind of story deck that you play through.
Yeah, and you have a character. And
Yeah.
what's a bit different with the Dark Sector is you have like newer implants you start with, which give you the re-rolls, and you get ranged weapons,
Yeah.
which is quite a nice little add-on, I think. It's slightly different to the Dark Castle.
The risk-reward element of that.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's really nice and really enjoyed that. It's just a really good one-shot dungeon crawler.
You could probably have a game in half hour.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll die, but
Yeah. Apparently, the person teaching us, she did a really good job as well.
yeah.
She was like, "No one's completed this the whole time they've been here. No one's got to the end and completed it." So that's the kind of difficulty level you're getting. But we really enjoyed it.
I'm mostly going to dip out of this one because it's not my type of game,
No.
and I do find it too punishing. If
Yeah.
I'm honest,
Yeah, yeah.
But I want it to be a bit more casual, and it's not really.
Yeah.
It's quick, but it's really punishing,
Yeah.
and you have to like the IP. And for me, it's not my bag.
Yeah, that's
fair
fair.
enough,
I can
yeah.
understand why.
I can
it wouldn't
understand
be.
the artwork is like a bit like Marmite. I think it's either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, me and my brother really enjoyed it. We got quite far. We nearly got to the boss.
We were about 2-3 away, I think, from the
Yeah,
boss.
we were one card away from the boss, and then
I think a robot killed us.
yeah,
Or me.
Yeah.
I think I'm the one that got speared or something. He shot my arms off. Made me read out the story at the end, how I died, didn't he? But again, he did a good job.
Yeah, and
good.
to me that was
good fun.
Just good fun. Yeah, that's kind of rounding up all the games we got to play demo wise. We played quite a lot. We played a lot of games at the Open Gaming, Las Vegas Royale, which is coming up in our next episode. So listen out for that.
Yep.
Love Letter, which we speak about lots throughout all of our shows.
And we probably will do.
Because it's just good. It's so good. I mean, we played it in the foyer of Premier Inn when we
Played
got
the
back
Hobbit
one evening,
version.
didn't we?
Yeah, Hobbit version. We do have an issue with the Hobbit version, but we'll come
Broken combos.
I have an issue with every love letter
That's
version.
not-
It's not classic love letter.
Yeah, I get that. For me, the IP, as you've all gathered, probably
Yeah,
Lord of the
exactly.
Rings obsessed, and for me, it was one of those I specifically went out of my way to get.
It's fair
I
enough.
just
mate.
can't
But
believe
yeah,
they didn't
it's-
see the broken combo. It's either that or we're missing something anyway. So if we're missing something, let us know.
I don't think we are.
But otherwise, 3 Toriel and the Arkenstone, you draw those, and I'm out.
I lose instantly. Nothing you can do.
Yeah, great.
That's the way it is.
So yeah, love letter. Lords of Waterdeep, you guys played.
Yeah,
And
got
what-
Becky into that. Wow,
Yeah.
she loved it.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
absolutely loved
Played
it.
before, is she?
No, don't think
that her
so.
first time?
First time. It was
Oh,
a teach.
fair play.
teach
I
game.
love
She
how
loved it.
deep Becky has gone into board games now. Because
Oh.
she used to be on the fringe, didn't she? She used to
Yeah.
always be on the fringe, and now she's just, hands
in
down
it.
in.
She's in
She left the Bring and Buy with family games.
12.
Ah.
12. She
I mean,
literally had to
which
put
time,
6 in
James?
each bag because she was weighted down and she couldn't actually move if one was too lopsided. It was ridiculous. Seeing her, I said to her when we were getting in, I said, those bags are bigger than you. It's like she literally carrying these massive, great big bags, but she absolutely loved it.
That's one of my favourite moments, mate, is watching your wife on the first day after being in the Bring and Buy probably 3 times. At the end of the day, just skipping out of Hall 1 with all those bags, getting in the cab, and she looked as happy as I've ever seen her.
Yeah. I got to be honest, I did take the mickey out of her saying, bloody hell, all that money, but I'm delighted that she's into it. to be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly.
She said to me yesterday when we got back, it's brilliant that we've both got that we're both into something, that we love and
Hobby-wise.
get on together.
You've got a shared experience now.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I remember when I saw you guys the first day randomly bumped into you guys, and I was like, "What's all this?" And Becky's like, "Games I've bought. Look at my haul."
It wasn't like she was hiding it. She was like, "Look at the games, and I'm going to tell you about every game that I've bought." She's so enthusiastic.
She got some good deals. She got some good games as well. So
she did.
She threatened to cull some of my games out of my collection to make room for her, so I'm not happy about this. She said Civilization's going on, it bloody well isn't.
the Calyx culling. So Becky also went to the games library. So there's a little library there where you could hire out games and just play. So you didn't actually have to buy anything. But I don't think if someone's gone to the Games Expo and not bought one thing, let us know. You must have bought one thing, no?
No.
Oh, right, then JP.
Apart
there
from
you go.
food.
Is it already broken?
I'll tell you my reason why. is that I've already got loads of games. You guys know this. And literally the week, probably wasn't even a week before we went, Burn Cycles turned up.
I was going to say Burn Cycles probably
and
the one.
not long before that, Perseverance has turned up. And then I've recently bought Super Skill Pinball, and so I've been kind of chipping away and buying things, and then I felt like at the expo I just wasn't after anything specific, and nothing kind of jumped out. If I bought something, it would have been for the sake of it. The only one thing I was teetering was Kanban EV, and the thing about Vito Lacerda games is that they're on the higher price point. They're over £100 for the game, and don't get me wrong, they look beautiful, well produced, etc. And I've just been like, should I not? And then I'm thinking, look, I've got loads of stuff to play, and I haven't really scratched the surface for half the game. So I just didn't feel the need to, and it's the first time, and I kind of thought, am I okay? Like,
I only bought one.
Yeah,
I just thought, and that was only kind of like, you know what? I've never given Pandemic a decent go, so I thought I'd buy that and then give it a whirl sometime.
But out of our group, I think you two probably own the most games. So
we have the biggest.
You're kind of now standing back and letting everyone else go buy the games. We will play.
It's great. The same thing as JP in the fact that my games haven't turned up yet, but I've had delivery notifications, not delivery, but they're being sent out now over the next 4 to 6 weeks of 3 of my Kickstarters.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I've got a shelf of shame. I've got 3 Kickstarters coming. I don't really need another half a dozen.
I think if I saw something that I got excited about, or I managed to watch a YouTube of a particular game, I thought, ooh, that looks interesting, and I probably would have picked it up. And the other one was Carnegie. That I was kind of, should I?
Yeah,
maybe I should have
said
done
about that one.
But I'm quite happy. Like, for me,
we're definitely content in our games, haven't we?
I'm
We
definitely
do have a lot.
I've reached a stage in my collection where I don't feel like I have to get everything anymore, and it's quite a nice feeling, to be honest, to get there. And it's great to see your wife buy everything else, but also yourself, Davey. It's good to see you picking up some stuff as well, and also getting some events up in the group. Which is also great to see. So
leading on to that, the game I did get,
it's so good.
got a good deal on it as well. Is Barrage.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I asked a shop see if they had it, and they said no, and then Kerley saw it for me in that same shop. But I got such a good deal, I didn't mind. So looking online, Noah sells it at that price. So
Barrage is awesome.
Yeah,
such a fun and nasty game.
When you look at it, it's one of those again. It can look a little bit plain, but the artwork's cool, and it does look cool. But you're moving bits of water around on a track that's powering dams.
Yeah, hydroelectric dams.
Yeah, and quite a boring theme. But when it plays out, it's actually really interesting because you've got little pipes that move the water around. So you've really got to think about connecting where all your dams are. You've got to think about where your electric stations are. Oh, is someone going to then steal your water?
Upstream.
Yeah. And you've got little ability cards that you can then build on. And it's got real nice, smooth mechanics in there. Your turns are short. Your actions are short. It's a worker placement. And it's very tight. You feel like, how am I going to get over there and do this? And suddenly you do it and you think, this is going really well. This is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. You kind of got to get in each other's way, and that's the important thing. And I think when we did we were relearning it, because when we learned the game, we learnt over Tabletop Simulator during COVID, and Barrage being that light game that it is.
The amount of times we flipped or locked down pieces and tiles, and it took so long. Yeah. Whereas we probably got our game down in an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah.
Once you finished before we finished Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
The setup was probably longer. That's because we were trying to learn it as we go. But no, I think it played really slick. Even for a 2-player, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was.
I think you do probably need the extra players just to get in each other's way a bit more. But
rare ones where 4-player is going to be actually once everyone knows the game, 4-player will be a real fun contention, and it's going to create a lot of conflict even for a Euro, but in a good way, rather than feel like he's screwing me over. There's always workarounds.
You get advanced notice of how much water is going to come from the kind of head streams right at the top of the mountain. Right. So you already know in lane 3 there's going to be 2 water droplets that are going to drop down. So you're thinking, I'm going to try and catch that with my dams, or I need to elevate my dams enough so it catches all the water. And then you gotta do that, and then some git puts a dam higher up the stream to catch the water first.
And you get nothing.
And then you're like, oh, and then they route the water into a completely different lane, and you're like, you bastard.
But then you can try and counteract that by building your dam where he's going to route the water.
Right.
So then you can process
power from there.
It's clever. Like,
so long as it's nothing like the other water game I've played.
What, Pipeline?
Pipeline.
Nothing like that.
Pipeline.
So much better.
Good.
Yeah.
So much
I think it is better than Pipeline, but it's definitely quite streamlined in your decisions. I found sometimes you just go, oh, I've got a lot to think about and do, but it's definitely one where those actions are very important. But I don't know. I feel like we played it quite quickly, really, we were learning it as well. So I do feel.
Well, we had the advantage. We had the advantage of playing it before, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Well, I'm signed up to your event. I think is in July, right?
Yeah, in July. Yeah.
So
it'd be good to get it to the table and play it.
We'll talk about it more, no doubt, in the future.
Yeah. The other game, I'm actually playing a solo game. The other one I bought anyway. I bought two. I bought Radlands, but that's just a little dual game that looks quite good. But Bitoku, Japanese themed game about spirits, but. Looks really good. Looks nice, like dice worker placement with
my favourite
building and what's the game where you move the little dudes around the church that give you abilities? Coimbra. Yeah, and it has some Coimbra mechanics in there as well, where you move your little pilgrims around. Nice. It's basically got all these mechanics all lumped into one, which is great.
That's most board games these days, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've got dice, but you never roll them. The dice are there just for values when you put them out.
Okay.
That you have to beat other people,
yeah.
But also when they cross the river, so when these spirits cross the river, their dice value drops, and it always stays on that value. So when you get them back for the next round, they've dropped their value again. So it's got this real nice balancing mechanic of your dice are really strong now, but they won't be later.
Yeah.
And so you've got to really think
about
where you put them. Yeah.
Okay.
So just like, I didn't even play the game at the demo. I saw it and I thought, and I've just bought it because it looks so amazing. And maybe I shouldn't have. It was my spontaneous buy, but
you should have
I think
done it.
Actually,
good things.
Yeah.
So that was my other purchase, but right.
It's not my purchase, but I would like to shout out one other.
Go.
Becky's.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we're all looking forward to, hopefully. Spirit Island.
Oh, God,
yes.
I've heard such good things about it. It looks awesome. The artwork looks amazing. The game looks really cool. I know Adrian's interested. I'm interested. I know you.
I nearly bought it at the last expo, if you remember, because I saw it and it was either that or Robinson Crusoe. That's the one I got instead. Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah. No, it's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be a good take on colonialism. It's where you take control of the spirits to fend off invaders and basically clear them out, and very much asymmetric spirits that you can play.
I think it just looked nice because it was kind of like a fairly, I wouldn't want to say heavy, but heavy-ish strategy game.
I think it is heavy, mate.
Yeah, but with a fairly, I'm not going to say unique, but rare, it being co-op.
Yeah, something with that kind of engine building and strategy element that's co-op isn't really a common game type.
In fact, I'm struggling to think of another one that plays like that.
No, even Robinson Crusoe.
One, I'm sure there is, but
Robinson Crusoe is a in-depth strategy game, but you don't really have you just get pelted. You kind of start getting weaker and weaker.
You just get dysentery, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to play.
Yeah, more thoughts on that later.
So that's what we did.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple meals as well, which was nice. We all just chilled out.
I think that's the good thing I really enjoyed, is just taking a bit of a break, going to the Resorts World section on the, I call it the campus, but you know what I mean. And then just sitting down and having a proper meal, which is kind of a tip for anyone that's kind of going to the expo. Is the food options and stuff. You can obviously eat right there. You've got sandwiches, you've got hot dog stalls and burger stalls and hog roast and all those kinds of things. There's quite a lot of variety of food options, and you've got Wetherspoons that's literally out there. But as you'd expect with most of these things, the cost of the food is not cheap. If you want a sandwich, you're going to pay for the nose for it, and you need to kind of expect that going in. But I quite like that we made time to have a meal, We made time for as a group of mates and stuff to kind of go away and just chat and debrief about the day, and just have what did you buy?
It's nicer than having like a rushed hot dog in one of those stands. Isn't
I've got a demo in about 5 minutes.
And it's nearly cost you as much for this hot dog as it did for Five Guys or
Las Iguanas, which is where we went to.
Yeah,
I think the temptation on an expo is just to make food very functional.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas I think you could take the more French take on it, which makes it more of a social event. So it's nice to just catch up with the people you've gone with.
Yeah.
Because
And it was a 5-minute walk away, so it's kind of like
5-minute walk, and it was delicious food.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what we got up to in our downtime as well. What are the most standout best things about the expo, do you think?
For me, it was, I think you might have mentioned it earlier on, Davey, but it was just being in such a large location where the atmosphere felt like you with like-minded mates, that kind of thing. Yeah, so the atmosphere just felt really good, positive. Didn't see any trouble with 29,000 people there that you said at its peak. Didn't see any trouble at all.
Everyone was
even
chilled,
an
weren't
argument. Everyone was chilled. Everyone was positive and happy. And I think that can really make the weekend because it just gives you a positive vibe.
Yeah.
So that for me was a really big positive. And also at the Crokinole Championship as well, for me was a personal highlight. Not because I did particularly well. I did all right. I didn't embarrass myself, which was the whole point of it for me. But also because it forced me to get chatting. Like I'd give out a shout out to Neil. He's a professional magician, and we were having a nice old chat, and it was just really nice being in a social situation that the tournament forced you into, that made you interact with people, and it made you realise how alike and how easily you could get on with people that you wouldn't even talk to normally.
Yeah, I mean, usually when I bring up board games and I talk about board games all day, people start to turn off at a certain point. Whereas at this event, people will just be engaged the whole time. It's so nice, isn't it, being able to chat about that kind of stuff.
It's quite funny you mentioned the chatting to the your opponents essentially, and I found that I think in round one, it's having great chats with people, learning about all different stuff. I mean, the vibe was completely different in round two. Everyone got the business. We're getting the business end of things now. It's like we're not talking, we're playing Crokinole.
Yeah.
And actually, personally, I enjoyed that round less from that side of it, and I actually quite like the bit more casual take. Which
it depends what you're there for, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it says to me I'm not really a tournament player. To be fair. But there we go. Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. But no, I think my little highlight actually, and it's kind of a bit of a weird one to say, but we were all sat there playing an open gaming, and this guy walks past, and then he stops, and he says, "Oh, I listened to your podcast," and I just thought, "Oh, that was really nice," and it's just a little thing. But I really appreciated it. Just that somebody who kind of recognised us and stopped to say hello and just said hi, and I thought, oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And it gave me a nice little buzz and feeling and thinking, oh, great.
Well, it's because the main reason we do this is for our own enjoyment of the hobby, and we like to then sit around and talk about it and kind of spread the word. Yeah. And to have someone then to be like, oh yeah, I listened to you guys, it's quite.
It was just
humbling, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the word. It was humbling, and just really nice to kind of experience that. Considering we've only been going 2.5 months, we didn't expect everybody's go, oh my god, the podcast guys are here, and let's stop because we're new on the block. But no, that was just a nice thing. That was definitely a highlight for me. I loved it.
For me, I think it's just. I can't really condense just one moment. For me, Kerley's hit the nail on the head. It's just the atmosphere. Yeah. I spoke to so many different people. I was having chats with loads of randoms, and everyone was
randoms.
They were to me. I am to them. Yeah. And we were just having a good time. All with a similar interest.
Yeah.
And it's rare you get that, and that's kind of where everyone goes. And if you don't, you need to. But
you should go.
You should go, yeah.
What I really love though is that Davey, a few of us all had these business cards in with our podcast info, and because why not? We're trying to promote what we do, and the way that Davey was kind of combining handshakes with business cards in his hand and flicking them out like ninja stars to everyone he spoke to was brilliant. It's just
I thought I'd do it in a fun way instead of
We
here's
got
my
approached a
business
lot
card.
by just like, are you guys a club or what's going on? We're like, well, we're a new podcast.
We're a
So
biker gang.
Just got chatting.
Just
and,
without the
it was really
bikes.
nice.
We're the lamest biker gang ever.
Yeah, we don't have motorbikes. We're not cool.
We sit on imaginary ones and go.
But what made me laugh is that Becky tried to do the business card thing and she ended up handing out a room key
to a random guy.
guy.
Yeah, thanks, Becky.
That was my favourite
Security
thing.
guy.
I loved it. I think he was quite impressed.
Ian probably would have taken that room key though, because it would have been a lot better than his hotel.
Yeah. In the ghetto.
In the ghetto, he turns up. He turns up, and there was just a police car outside. That's the first thing he saw.
We're just getting WhatsApp messages from him how shit his hotel was.
Yeah.
And we're just laughing.
Yeah, he was about half an hour outside as well.
I've got to be
wasn't
honest,
he?
I wouldn't go as far as to say a shower because they don't bloody need it. But I have to say, Premier Inn, I can't fault it.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was
it
good.
was really
good. Yeah, we got to go down and do a charity event as well with Paul Grogan up the front for
forgot
Just
about that.
One.
Just One event.
Yeah. If you've not played Just One, which I'm sure most people have, it's like the biggest game at the moment for families and the like. But you have one guesser. They have a clue card. Everyone else looks at the clue card. You say a number, so there's 5 clues. So I'd say 3, and everyone else has like a little whiteboard. They write their clue on the whiteboard, and the thing is, if anyone has the same clue as another one, they have to eliminate it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not allowed to talk about what clue you're putting down, and it's obviously just one word. You can't have it in a different language, you can't rhyme with the word, stuff like that, but you write it down. Once you've clarified that everyone hasn't got the same clue, the other person sees all the clues and they've got to guess the one word that it associates to. So,
yeah, I think what it does is, as the kind of clue givers, is that you know this. So if you go for obvious clues, you know that it's the high chance of that being eliminated, and therefore as a team, you're not going to get through, right? See, then you're thinking of obscurity. You're going into
semi-obscure is a good way to go.
Yeah.
rather than too abstract, because sometimes you think, but if you know someone well, you can go, right, this is so abstract, they're going to get it.
Ones in there. What was it at one point? Was it Dirty Skinny Ronald?
Dirty Skinny Ronald.
Yeah, Ronald was JP's.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was thinking. All I could think of was Uncle.
It's like, if anyone can guess what Dirty Skinny Ronald was as a word, good luck on that.
If you're listening, then put your answers.
Put your guesses down. We're not going to tell you.
Yeah. Although we have put it on the socials. So
did we?
Yeah, and I think Ian's ruined it.
Yeah.
So we might as well tell everyone.
It's fries.
It's fries.
Yeah. So
the two that got eliminated was McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which probably would have helped, wouldn't it?
So poor Paul had to try and guess some of these with.
You had no idea, did you? I don't know why. It was easy.
So that was a real good laugh.
It was. I didn't know how it was going to work.
No.
And I thought it actually worked really well. I thought it was quite good that you had the guesses and loads of people were willing to go up and do it. Because, again, people might not feel comfortable about going up on a little mini stage and doing these things. And, and it was all in good fun, bit of a laugh. And it kind of flew by. I think that hour just went. I was like, oh my God, it's like 8 o'clock already.
I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it would be lots of mini games of people playing all together and maybe you would mix up groups. So I hadn't mentally prepared to go on stage. So for some reason I didn't want to do it. I'm not, for a living I talk in front of people.
Yeah, you train people.
Yeah, I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have a problem with nerves or anything, but for some reason I just hadn't mentally prepared myself.
Yeah. I just couldn't stand up once I sat down. I was so tired.
Well, there is that.
Well, I didn't mentally prepare myself when Paul said, "Here, have the mic and have a go at guessing," and then introduced the podcast at the last minute, and I was just like, I haven't got my pitch ready. So that was kind of like, just make something up. But
you went the same colour as your t-shirt at one point, I think.
Jesus.
This is not specifically to do with the Just One event, which was great. It was for charity and everything else. I'm not sure if I'd want to do something that late again.
Yeah.
Between 7 and 8. See, for me, by the time we finished that,
any game,
the open gaming went out the window. Really, we did do it, but it meant that we finished really late.
Yeah,
and it wasn't really late. It was probably about 11 half past, maybe even a touch later, but it was around that time frame. And when you're up at 7 o'clock to go to the expo every morning, and you're there till 12 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
that kind of felt a bit too much. So, for me, any events I was going to do, I'd probably try and do it a little bit before then. Next time.
Yeah, because the other one that was on was the Dark Room, I think, wasn't it? That's the one Stuart went to.
Yeah, it went on till like 1 a.m.
They're all drinking and like it was all...
sounded like chaos.
Yeah.
I thought that sounds great.
Yeah, it did sound like
But I think that's the event you would do for the entire night.
Yes,
So you kind of
you're prepared.
Yeah,
to do it.
you're going in, you're experiencing it, and
you haven't got like 2 bags of like 6 board games that you're carrying around to go into it, kind of thing.
I'd like to try that one year, I think. The Dark Room.
I was interested. I don't think I ever got near to buying a ticket, but I was interested.
Yeah, I was interested as well. But so maybe check out for the next one. But
maybe
because the other one is Shut Up and Sit Down.
They just do a free. Well, they used to. I don't know if it's paid now, but they used to do a free show that you queue up for.
Yeah,
first come, first serve.
Yeah, I think it was free when I was.
Yeah, that's the queue that goes around by the tickets bit, isn't it?
Yeah, the Toot Suite. Usually,
yes,
and that's I've been to one of those before. That's good fun. Like it's just listening to a podcast that they do.
Yeah,
and you know what they're like.
Yeah, they're exactly.
They're quite
good
comical,
sense of humour.
Good sense of humour. Don't take life too seriously. So I'd recommend kind of catching some of the shows. But I agree with your point about like if you want to do open gaming, then doing something 7 till 8 cuts into it a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
So you're not getting started till 9. But
I kind of feel like 7 is a sweet spot for me to start gaming in an evening.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, especially if you're playing a bigger game, you kind of need that time, don't you?
Yeah.
So to bring the tone down a little, any negative things that we can think of? Any bad things?
I don't think for me there's negative experiences because it's just all been a positive wave for the entire weekend. Apart from the usual thing like, oh my god, I've been on my feet for so many hours, and why did I pick these shoes? And all these underpants, I'm chafing. Whatever. Or is that just me? No, it's probably just me.
Just you.
But no, I think again, not a negative. I mentioned the cost thing. It's just something to be prepared for. If you go there and not expect it, that might ruin your experience a little bit and go, oh, I didn't budget for that, or I didn't expect a sausage roll to cost me £8 or whatever it is. So it's just, I think, more for other people. I already knew it's going to be expensive. I've done it 3 times before. I can't think of a specific thing that kind of has ruined it or anything like that, because it's not been that negative. The only thing I will mention is on previous expos, what I have missed this year is that kind of big publisher, big release, big buzz about a game, lots of kind of demo copies, like 8 copies. You've got to try this.
Yeah.
But then having thought about that a bit more, it actually probably was a positive because it allowed more of the smaller publishers to get more of the limelight and more of the trade and more of the kind of footfall without everybody going, I must try Fantasy Flight's newest thing. Because like the previous one I went to was 2019, I think. And the Outer Rim was the kind of their big release. Had to go and try it, and then before there was something else, can't remember.
There was buzz on that same one about villagers and gizmos, I think, because they had like 5 or 6 tables worth, so you were able to play the game.
We were missing some publishers, I think, this year for whatever reason.
I think there was a lot more smaller table sections, and so it was it's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is you can't demo every game that's there, but the good thing is there's a lot more variety and there's a lot more smaller developers there, which was really good.
And I walked past the same avenues or lanes or whatever you call them about 7 times, and I saw something new every time.
As it started getting less busy, I was like, have they been there the whole time? I was like, let's go check that out.
Absolutely.
But I don't have any negatives. I will reinforce what you said about the cost. I think at one point I had lunch with a coffee, a Fanta, sausage roll and a wrap.
Other soft drinks are available.
Yeah. and all right, that was quite a bit to have from an expo, but it was £17, and it was just like, I expected it to be expensive. For me, it was like, that hurt a little bit. But like JP said, you just got to mentally prepare for it. You got to ride off that money before you go. Otherwise, you will just end up not enjoying yourself. And it didn't have a massive impact on me, but it was like, bloody hell,
It's taking away my board game money.
But there are ways you can prepare for that as well. Like, if you're going for the day, you can bring your own stuff.
Absolutely.
So you
on the second day, I took my drink.
So. Or if you think, I don't want to kind of keep buying, Coke or soft drinks and that, then just take water.
Yeah.
Like there are water refilling stations all around, which I've completely forgotten about, and I've forgotten how dehydrated you get just being in that environment with loads of humans and aircon, and just you gotta keep hydrated because you will feel crap. And I know, like Davey, the previous one, and that might have been the alcohol. You felt a bit rough, didn't you, mate? And maybe didn't have enough water. Had
a migraine. Was quite dehydrated, and they put some saline in me, and then off I went.
I think so. It was the cost, but the only other thing that I found was a negative was the shop and drop. Was really good idea. Had no problems with it, but it was full when I went there on the Saturday. So for me, it's like you have to have it, because I had probably 3 or 4 bags with Becky's bags, my bags. I had a few accessories that I bought, and I just had to lug them around. I even bought some games for the evening. I had to, thinking I could put them in the shop and drop, and I couldn't because they were all full. So
full, not queuing, but just full.
No,
you couldn't do it.
Couldn't put them in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was some other things I heard online that were negative about the shop and drop. So hopefully they'll sort that out next year.
Essentially it was boxes. Yeah, was really all it came down to, and I think there was an organisational issue where a couple of bits were lost and things like that. So. It's
limited space at the end of the day. Isn't
it? This is it. So I guess maybe they didn't intentionally didn't provide enough. They didn't have the room, or maybe they underestimated how many people were coming. But whatever the case would be, I think that was a big negative for me, having to lug around stuff.
My one, which was a teach from one person. So I said before that I had a group of friends that I went with who aren't really big board gamers, and we sat down to play Lord of the Rings, the card game, and the guy we asked said, "Oh, that's fine, I'll teach it," rather than saying he didn't know how to play it. Rather than just saying, if he said he didn't know how to play it would have been fine, because we would have went through the rules and he could have helped us that way. But instead, he proceeded to sit down. He proceeded to read through the rules really quickly at us. It started putting my friends off. They didn't understand. They're not big board gamers. It started to put them off a little, and I had to kind of interject, pull up a Rodney P video and say, "Oh, we'll watch this," and kind of like try and usher him away, and he kind of wouldn't. And then luckily his colleague had just finished teaching the other one and another game, and came over and was like, "Right, so your group of adventures, the monsters are over on the hill, you're going out," and was a really informative and enthusiastic teach. And suddenly everyone was back in the room playing the game, really enjoying it, and it kind of flipped the experience. But it very nearly put them off, and putting them off at that early could have been quite detrimental to their whole experience. So that was the only negative thing. But then we came across the next day, the couple of days after, the Crisis Protocol guy, and he said he didn't know how to play the game and he'll learn it with us.
Yeah, in all fairness to him, he was very honest.
Yeah, and that was fine. And and he, that was fine, and we all learned the game together and a good laugh. So that's this. I would have preferred the honesty and just saying, "I don't know, we can learn together," and being part of the situation rather than just being, "Oh no, it's fine," nonchalantly, and just shouting the rules at you isn't gonna.
We know some of these people who are demonstrating. Some of them might be getting paid, but some of them are just having their expo experience funded by the publishers, right, or the distributors. But they're put in some situations. They want to experience the expo, but you're going to get a different quality. But I always like the people who are just honest. Like, I don't know how this works. I'm literally being put on this game this morning. I've got to demo it all day. Let's learn it together. Let's have fun together. I'll help you. You help me. And then, we kind of circled back, didn't we? And saw him later on. He was teaching other groups. We said, "How are you getting on?" He's like, "Yeah, really good," which I thought he might have appreciated, because you could take the you don't know what you're doing, mate, and that's not really a nice kind of inclusive way to behave, and I think just be honest.
Yeah, but it was one out of the whole expo, so I'm not that didn't ruin my experience, but that was pretty much the only negative thing, and if that's the only thing, I'm happy.
And the thing is, as well, is like, especially with where you were playing the Lord of the Rings LCG, is there were how many games in that area? 12?
What, of Lord of the Rings?
No,
the
just
Asmodee
generally, or the
section.
Asmodee
God,
section in general.
Yeah, quite a lot.
So you're gonna get people who don't know each game 100%.
And they rotate them around.
So I
don't
mean,
they?
Of course.
to be fair to them, I mean, it sounds like that was potentially an issue with learning how to teach people, which is a skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly, you know, the knowledge of games isn't always going to be there in the stand. But I would prefer the variation.
Yeah.
Like there were like I say, 12 stands. Not all of them full means you could play something if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got one stand, then it's going to be you got to wait an hour. You know, or whatever.
So that's kind of our expo experience. We've kind of given you a few tips. Are there any more?
Yeah, I mean, comfy shoes.
I've currently got a little toe that was like a big toe, so
Just
that was
you know, you're on your feet. If you're not used to that, I mean, if you're working like retail or anything, you'll be fine because you're on your feet all day. But if you're anything like me, you sit at a computer, just being on your feet, it's tiring. Also, tips for hotels, which is probably too late now if you're listening to this, which is next year, get them reserved and booked early. And obviously the dates for next year, 2nd to 4th of
Don't
June?
tell them that, JP.
It's all right, we've got ours reserved. We're good. But you need to get them in early because the prices rocket. So my advice to everybody goes to expos. You know, if you can find out the dates of the next year's expo whilst you're at this year's expo, get your hotels reserved. You're going to save a considerable amount of money. So this might be a tip for next year because it might be too late. Some of the prices that I've seen already.
And what's the downside? You know, if you buy a flexi room, then there's no downside. You can just cancel it if you can't go. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't pay now, you pay later.
Exactly.
So then it secures it. So for me, hotels, and also if you can't get a hotel like near on the NEC area, don't be afraid to kind of get an Airbnb nearby.
Yeah.
Or somewhere, because you know the main train line runs into the NEC anyway. And it's very easy to kind of hop in, hop off, very, you know, reasonable price tickets to get there. So even if you stay in the centre of Birmingham, you could be at the NEC in 15 minutes?
Yeah. It wasn't actually too bad when we stayed in 2019.
We did Coventry,
We
the other
stayed
end.
in Coventry,
so you know there are options if you think, price is a bit too much, and actually I don't want to go to the open gaming till midnight, because that's the other consideration, is if you get in the train, what train times, when's the last train, all that kind of stuff. So, but it's worth mentioning, I think, for people.
I think the other advice I would give people is, if you book a hotel a year in advance, is make sure you write it down or tell your wife. Because otherwise
both of you.
Yeah, we didn't happen to just one of us. It was me and Kerley that had both double booked.
Yeah, so I booked my hotel last August and totally forgot about it. So I had to book again more recently, and then I got an email about 3 days before the expo.
We'll welcome you.
We're looking forward to your visit. It's like, hey, what?
Yeah, that's the exact same thing. I got the email a day before, just saying, "Oh, we're looking forward to your visit," and I was thinking, "Oh, I'm in the same hotel as you guys then," because I did have I had to book the Ibis, but
it was funny.
I cancelled it and I got my money, got my money back. So
the other thing, just on my mind. If you're doing the full weekend, as in the full 3 days, Friday to Sunday, this time I drove up early, and I must have woke up about, I don't know, just gone 4 a.m, set off, got breakfast, set off about 5:45, get on the way. I like travelling then because the motorways are dead, and I'm coming from about, 2.5 hours away. But the toll it takes on you by the end of that day, I was wiped out. Like I was done. I think you guys we're going to game till midnight. I'm done, mate. I can't function.
10 o'clock you were gone.
I was just gone. Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. And I remember we did this before, where if expense is a thing, stop somewhere en route. Yeah. And then get up and kind of drive in the half-hour drive the rest of the way.
We did that, didn't we, last time?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I completely forgot we did it.
Yeah.
I've booked the Friday and Saturday night. I must say that I think it was a really good idea. This time I stayed the Thursday night as well. Yeah. We travelled up Thursday evening after Becky finished work.
It's kind of nice that you're there.
It was nice. Yeah. It was nice after.
I probably will do that. My family lives in Birmingham, so what I might do is I might just go stay with my family on the Thursday night and then travel in. And that'll make it a lot easier.
And there's nothing. There's pluses and minuses to both sides.
Yeah.
But, I think if I can afford it, then I might book an extra day.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And also, if you do want to demo something, Sunday is your best day. Sunday was, as I said, I could suddenly start seeing stalls I'd never seen before. You can also get some good deals.
They start slashing prices.
You can start haggling and bartering with people. I know it's seen as usually frowned upon, but a lot of these expo stalls don't want to take their stock back with them.
No.
It's it's a nightmare packing it down, and it's a nightmare carrying it. They'll just prefer to sell it to you, and it's
they want to clear it out. They absolutely want to clear it out. So that if you're willing to kind of wait until the end of Sunday, which to be fair I wasn't because I was done. But I know you were, Davey, and you were seeing a lot of
I got Radlands for £15, which usually it's a 20 to 25 quid game. So
you will get the discounts if you're willing to kind of wait around.
And you get to play the games you want to play.
The other thing is, if you don't have that luxury, then you're going to have to queue up, and you're going to have to be there when the doors open, and you're going to have to know exactly what publisher or what store you want to go at and get there. So you've got to do your research and plan ahead. So again, if you're looking to specifically demo a specific game, get
it was stranger. It felt like Friday was busier than the Saturday, but Saturday had more people.
Well, I kind of feel like Friday was busier. That's definitely how it felt, but I think it was a bit of an odd one because of the bank holidays.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because people could normally, a lot of people can't go on Friday. I could have done. But a lot of people can't go on.
It was a bank holiday,
normally,
but it was a bank holiday this year, so that's why I think it was certainly.
Or maybe they're doing something Jubilee on the Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So
makes
it's a bit
sense.
of an odd one this year, I think.
Yeah.
Won't happen next year.
No, definitely not. A big thank you to everyone who kind of was there and that was friendly to us, and it was just a real nice vibe, real nice community, and we can't really be happier with how the expo went and our experience with it, really. So with that, we're all knackered. Me and my big toe, my legs feel like they've gone through. I've went through some kind of pilgrimage.
You kind of did, mate.
Off to get some shut-eye. But if you've enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe and review on your podcast player of choice. If you want to get in contact with the show on our socials, you can 1. Email us on players@whosturn.co.uk. 2. Check us out on Facebook page, Whose Turn Is It Anyway Podcast. 3. Instagram @WhoseTurnPodcast. And finally, TikTok, where you can see our expo adventures and lots of strange videos, mainly of me, Whose Turn Is It Anyway?
Being a bee. He likes to eat KFC.
We'll be back very soon with Adrian being first player. He's going to reclaim the mic, and that's us signing off.
See you later.
Catch you later. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.